Since taking office just 10 weeks ago, President Trump has moved quickly to put financial pressure on America's top colleges and universities. On Tuesday, the administration paused dozens of federal grants to Princeton University. Last month, it canceled $400 million to Columbia University, saying it hadn't done enough to combat anti-Semitism on campus. It suspended $175 million to the University of Pennsylvania for letting a trans woman compete in women's sports. And it placed 50 colleges under investigation over diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI programs. And the administration is reviewing $9 billion in federal grants and contracts with Harvard University. The responses have been varied. Princeton said in a statement it would vigorously defend academic freedom. Columbia announced some policy changes to comply with the administration's concerns, but the funds have yet to be restored. Putting individual cases aside, my next guest argues this could be a moment for self-reflection. He writes in an opinion essay for the New York Times, colleges have to be much more honest with themselves. Greg Weiner joins us now. He's the president of Assumption University in Massachusetts. Thank you so much for being here. And I want to quote a few notable passages from your op-ed that struck me. You write that higher education is considerably left of the American public, a perspective often expressed in language that is less offensive than it is incomprehensible. What do you mean by that? And is that the impetus for your call for self-reflection?
What I mean by that is that academics, we all tend to do it, use a lot of jargon that is that's simply very hard to understand. I think it's led to a divide between the academy and the American public. If you look at some of the protests that were happening on campuses last spring, I can imagine two reasonable responses if you're someone not connected with the academy and watching them. One is to be offended. I certainly was. But the other is to simply not understand what they're talking about and change the channel.
You write, in the name of academic freedom, many faculty members are violating one of its core tenets, the responsibility not to abuse the authority of the classroom by introducing extraneous material. You use climate change as an example, saying, yes, it's an important issue, but the claim that it's relevant to classes taught by so many college teachers is doubtful. Can you explain how you came to that conclusion?
Those aren't my principles on academic freedom. That's the American Association of University Professors. And they state very clearly, and this is the terrific champion of academic freedom, that academic freedom means that scholars have both special privileges and special responsibilities. One of the special responsibilities, in addition to promoting elevated debate and respectful hearing of different views, is to understand that there's a power dynamic between teacher and student. And even if doing it innocently or not intending to influence students, if you are teaching a class that has, for example, nothing to do with politics or public policy, and you introduce that from either direction, right, left, or center, there is an implicit pressure to conform.
Is climate change political?
Well, I believe climate change is a fact. There are reasonable debates on how to respond to it. My assumption would be that it's relevant to quite a few college classes, but I have my doubts as to whether it's as many as the survey said. The survey had several other examples of compelling issues, all of which deserve discussion, but are apparently, according to the respondents to the survey, being taught across curricula, not simply in classes where they apply.
Finally, you say this does not mean government interference in higher education is the answer. Is that what you believe is at play right now, and what is the solution?
Certainly, government interference is at play, and I believe in what have generally over time been regarded as two conservative values. One is that the private sector, especially when there's a lot of variety, does things better than the state does. And the second is that it's very important that there be a layer of civil society, of independent civil society between the individual and the government. So I think that is that independence is quite important but it comes with a responsibility. And that responsibility is the willingness to take a hard look at ourselves and recognize that there are problems on campus. What we don't want to be is in the position of the patient who says, I disagree with the treatment the doctor prescribes, so I'm going to pretend I'm perfectly healthy. That doesn't help you debate the treatment constructively.
President of Assumption University of Massachusetts, Greg Weiner, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.